Hey everybody, welcome back. And if this is your first time here, then welcome. My name is Matt and this channel is all about learning to tie flies. Now I've got a really cool pattern I'm going to be walking you through. This one is the Starling in red. Very similar to a Partridge and Orange or a Partridge and Yellow, except it's not Partridge, it's Starling, and it's not yellow, it's red. But if you've never tied with Starling, I think you should give this one a shot. Or if you just like swinging wet flies, I think you're going to like this pattern. Let's get started. I will explain the materials as I go and put the recipe in the description. So I'm tying this on a size 14 curved 1X short hook. You could tie this on a standard wet fly hook would be fine. I'm going to lay down a base of red. This is 6/0 thread. Now just a little bit past the start of the bend. Now the tail on this guy is Starling, just like the Hackle's going to be. So if you've got a Starling skin, which they're pretty cheap and they're pretty awesome birds to have, take one of the flight feathers, one of the smaller flight feathers, you see the brown tips on there, and just pull off half a dozen or so fibers. And I like to keep the brown tips. I think it looks pretty cool. See those right there? You can see them a little bit. So I'm going to catch that in. I'm going to pull a little bit longer. Okay, that's about a length I want. On a standard hook, it might be about a hook gap. On this curved hook, it's just a little bit shorter than a hook gap. I've got to watch those feathers right there, as they're not wanting to capture under on me, and I don't want to build too big of a bulk when I'm laying my floss body. You know what? We're gonna have to just trim a couple of those. But take your thread about halfway up while I trim these guys right there. That'll be covered with our floss body here in just a moment. So maybe most of the way up. Now the body, red floss. So before you let it splay out on you, I'll lick my fingers and run it through there just to get a little bit tighter. Now we can pull that in. Now I'm going to catch this in back to the tail. You could just catch it in at the front, then wrap the floss down and back up. But I think this is just as easy, and as long as you keep a smooth underbody, you're going to be fine. And that one is smooth enough. So let's pull this, wrap this around, and I'm going to try to capture those rogue tail fibers that were sticking up there just a second ago. Okay, now when you've got your body to your liking, as smooth as you can get it, take one strand, Peacock herl. Just break off the first couple of inches, maybe a little bit more. With one strand of herl, you can do several flies. We're only going to put about 4 wraps or so, and not maybe a third of the front, but probably not a third. So try to spin this so the short end is close to the hook. This just helps the hackle, and it gives it a little bit of that green gold look underneath, which is so cool, and all these nymphs and wet flies. Of course, this is a standard soft hackle wet fly. So that was about 4 wraps of Peacock herl right there. Now what we want for the hackle is just one of the very small fibers from that Starling. If you can get one with some of the brown tips, it's going to look pretty cool. So here's one. I'm going to tie it in on the tip. So I've pulled the fluff off and I've got myself a little tie-in point right here. 2 wraps tight right there. I'm going to fold it back over on itself. 2 more wraps. And I'm going to snip off this excess. You might be able to just pull it out, but it's just as quick to snip it, and then you don't risk pulling your whole hackle out. So pull these back. We're going to take 2 wraps. Just try to pull them back as you wrap it. It will make it a little easier when we're trying to clean up the head. But if they don't cooperate, don't worry. We will fix them in just a second. So I'm going to zigzag that through there. I'm going to make 2 securing wraps right there before I snip off this stem. Now it's a little buggy, but don't worry, it's going to look good in just a minute. So we pull these back. Hold them with your material hand, and then just wrap up your head. You can go back as far as you need. That will give you a good smooth head. This is 6/0 thread, so it shouldn't take too many wraps to build up that head. Okay, I think we're ready to whip finish this. I didn't leave a whole lot of room for some head cement, but it doesn't take much. I just put a tiniest drop on my bodkin and then touch it to it. If we have any cleanup here, now's the time to do it. I think we're okay. So there you have it, folks. A Starling in red, very similar to the Partridge and Orange or the Partridge in yellow, but it's Starling, and it's not yellow, it's red. So I appreciate you watching. Thanks, and we will see you next time.